Hello guys, welcome to yet another episode of One-Time Scraper series, and today we're going to be scraping stock news from stockpricetoday.com. I'm using this one-time scraper environment that I've built on top on pythonanywhere in order to create web scrapers in the cloud. And also I'm using this sort of library which is called one-time scraper as well. It contains all of the that simple class called one-time scraper, and here is the method definition. So we can fetch the URL, store and read HTML responses, and store the data to CSV, and that's pretty it. So we will be inheriting from this sort of class while writing the particular scraper, just in order to save your time. So without further ado, let's actually start writing some code. So first we need to import the one-time scraper class. So I'll say from ODS, that's the name of the file. In the current working directory it's called ods.py. I need to import all, and now let's draft a class equals with the name stock news scraper, and this class would be inherited from one-time scraper. And here we need to define a couple of methods. So the first one would be the parse, which would take the self instances always in Python along with HTML string, and let's basically pass here for a while, and also define the run method to actually start our scraper. So def run, which would take the only self instance as an argument, and that's it. So also I need to create the scraper instance that would be equals to stock news scraper, and also call the run function. Nothing would happen at this moment, so but I just want to see if there is no error in the code here. Okay, so it seems like everything is working just fine. So now let's actually call first let's define the URL we're supposed to scrape our data from, and the URL is this one basically. So just copy the URL and paste it over here. And now we need to make an outgoing HTTP GET request in order to fetch the data from the particular URL. So I can simply create the response object equals to self.fetch, and remember that the fetch is the method of one-time scraper here. So fetch and provide the URL as the argument. And the second thing to consider here is we can simply pass the response.text to the parse function just to see if it works or not. So I can simply say response.text and execute the code. Okay, so we did successfully perform an outgoing HTTP request, and now let's actually print the HTML response itself. Okay, so here is our response. Now in order to avoid torturing the server, the stockpricetoday.com, let's actually store our response to the HTML file, and then we'll be using our local copy to debug our scraper while creating an data extraction logic. So instead of calling parse here, I can simply call to HTML like this and run this stuff. And now we don't need either URL or this sort of response for now, but we'll create another response object that would be equals to from HTML, and this is how we obtain our local copy HTML source code. And let's define self parse, and this time we'll pass simply the response itself because it's the type of plain string. So now let's try to execute the code one more time. Okay, so this time it's absolutely the same response, but we don't torture the server, so we're now working with our local copy. So that's kind of what we really need here. And now let's have a look at the data that we're supposed to extract from here. So here we have the title, publish date, description, and if we just go through this link, follow this link, we will see actually the text of the corresponding news article that we would actually like to scrape. So this would be some sort of recursive scraping here, so bearing that in mind. Okay, and now let's see the source code for this particular page. And first let's try to find this string here, so just copy and paste it here. Okay, we'll definitely find one. Okay, so now we need to extract the corresponding tag. So it seems like h2 with the class entry title, so let's try to find for this one to see how many of them. So it's kind of 12 here. Okay, so it seems like it's exactly what we need. So let's calculate 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12. Yeah, exactly 12 elements. So this is exactly what we need now. So entry title is the class we're looking for. Okay, but before that we need to do one little more thing. So first we need to parse the content. So in order to do that, I'll create a content variable that would be equals to beautifulsoup and HTML as the first argument to parse, and the second argument as specify the LXML parser as a parser to parse our content. And now let's create the titles variable, which would be equal to content dot find all, and we're looking for h2 tag with a class of entry title. So let's try to find that one. Let's print our titles here, and I just run the code. Okay, so something has gone wrong here. Let me check. h2 class entry title. Okay. Oh, find all is not wasn't that good, so I just misspelled another L here. Okay, and now we actually have our titles, but we need to make kind of two things here. So first we need to strip the tags themselves, but also we would like to extract this sort of links from this element. So let's actually try to do this. And first, I'll be using the list comprehension technique in order to extract only the text elements from the entire tag beautifulsoup tag object. So I simply say title.text. Text is an argument of beautifulsoup for object, which is the type of the return value of each particular element within this list returned by the find all function here. So I say title.text for title in content find all, and let's try to see this one more time. Okay, so now it seems like we did extract our titles. And the second thing to consider, actually, let's try to extract our links. So the links would be actually we'll reuse this sort of code. Oh, but actually, let me just try to see if okay, so it's probably better to find this links recursively as well within the h2 tag. Okay, so let's reuse this sort of code. So okay, just let me think for a moment how to better doing this. Okay, so we'll go the following way here. So let's basically grab the entire stuff, and instead of so this would be all about the links. So link here and link here. So this kind of link is at the moment, so let me just quickly show you that link and execute the code. What's okay, links, sorry, links. So here is the entire element containing h2 tag and this child a tag. So if we can simply say link dot find, we use find function because there is the only a element, the only link within the h2 tag, and specify the tag name. And as far as we're not looking for any kind of extra elements, that's kind of enough here. So let's execute this one more time. Now we have our links, but we don't need the entire tag. We need only the href here. So let's actually extract the href by specifying the href key. And remember that all the inner attributes within the beautiful soup for object are treated to be keys, a dictionary keys like this. So if we just execute this again, now we have our links for the corresponding titles. So that's kind of it. And the next thing to consider here is basically to extract this sort of date. So let me also think, do we need to store this description, or probably grab the entire, probably it would be better to get the entire text of the article instead of storing this little description. So first let me just try to find date here. So looking for a date. Okay, so span metadate. So span metadate. Let's try to find this sort of elements. So I'm wondering how many of them. Okay, it's 12. So yeah, that's kind of right. Okay. Oh, my cat is going around here. Okay, so let's actually now try to extract our date. Metadate tag. So just copy this and doing absolutely the same stuff. So now I say dates equals date.text for date in content dot find all, and here we specify the tag name of span here, and class equals to metadate. So now let's try to print our dates to see whether they were extracted or not. Okay, so it seems like the dates has been extracted correctly as well. So this is pretty nice at the moment. Okay, now what we need to do next. So the very last element left here for us to scrape is the description for the is basically the article body here. So in order to obtain this, we need to make an extra HTTP GET request within our parse method. So that's kind of new thing. We didn't ever do this before in our one-time scraper series. So let's actually try and doing this first. And here I just want to say, okay, so let's first create another response object here. So this, let's call this, okay, let's call this response for a while. I'm not sure about the variable name, what would be the better. Okay, and we need to say requests dot get, and here we specify okay, so just we need actually to loop over all the links. Okay, so let me think how to make this better. Okay, so let's actually loop over the links first. So we say for link in links, and let's actually try to print the link first. Print link. So these are the links we're supposed to extract data from, but again, in order to avoid torturing the site, well, this time I won't be storing the response as HTML file because the extraction logic there is pretty simple, would be pretty simple. But I just want to break after hitting the first element, so the scripting, because all the other guys should be absolutely the same. So now let's create our request. So we say response equal to requests dot get and the link, and we also, so now we need to create an article content. So article content would be equal to beautiful soup and response.text, and again the XML parser again. Okay, and let's first actually try to print our article content here. Article content. Okay, let's try to run the code now. Article content is not defined. Okay, so here we have our response, and let's actually also have a look at, so do we need the source code for this one? Probably we don't. So now let's have a look at source code for this page, view page source, and I'm interested within starting from here and content. Okay, so doesn't seem to be the entire stuff. Okay, so let's go further on. So it's the p tag, and so is this the only p tag? Actually, let's I just want to check that out if this is the only. Okay, it's not the only, but what about this guy? So okay, this one is the only, so we can extract all the tags basically from div class entry content. So let's actually try and implement that. So div class entry content here, so just copy the stuff, and so article body, let's call this like so article body would be equal to article content find, so we're looking for the only element, and this would be the div tag, and the class equals to entry content, and we want to extract text out of it. So let's now actually try to print our article body here. So just to make sure that it does extract the data correctly. So article content is not defined, just okay, so here it seems like we did extract. Okay, we don't really want to print the dates at the moment, so let's try this one more time. So it seems like we did extract the exact text, the exact content of the article. Well, we don't really need this previous post, but that doesn't really matter that much. So let's basically, okay, but just hold on a sec. If I have a look, so this next post, so just wondering where is the p tag ends. Oh, so previous post. Okay, so well, maybe we can just try to extract all the p tags, but okay, just forget that. Doesn't okay, maybe just hold on. Okay, so let me actually try to do that. So instead of extracting tags, let's try to find all paragraphs here, all p's here, and let's execute this one more time. Okay, so now we don't have this that nasty end in there. Follow what was that? Previous post. We don't have the previous post, so let's actually strip our p tags at the moment. So just using the latest comprehension one more time here. So let's call this element dot text for, maybe call this line is better. So line dot text for line in article find all. Okay, and great, and the very last thing left here is just need to join these lines like this. Okay, so just to convert the list to a string. Okay, so now we got rid of that nasty previous post line at the very end of our article body. Okay, so let's move on from now. Let's move on now. So we have article body for each particular link here, So if we just create articles variable here, articles equals to empty list, well, this means that instead of printing this article body, we can simply append. We can say article dot append article body, and after going out from this third, of a loop, we would end up with articles, up to 12 articles in this articles list. So for now, I would leave this break statement in, again, just in order to avoid torturing the server. But okay, so yeah, so probably okay, so now we'll just create the extraction logic for just a grouping logic to group all the stuff into a single item, and then we'll provide the crawling all the pages, well, maybe not all the pages, just a couple of, just as the proof of concept, and later on I will just remove this break statement to have an entire scraper being finished. Okay, so let's look over the indexes, saying for index in range from 0 to the length of whatever of these elements, because their length is all the same, it's 12. So let's use the length of titles here, and here we need to create an item that would be the type of Python dictionary, and we would be appending these items to our classes results list just as soon as we debug this item as well. So the very first here to consider would be the title, and this would be equal to titles indexed by the index, and also we need the same for links, so links, and the same for dates and articles respectively. So copy, so articles would be empty for all the elements but the very first one, but that's just temporarily compromised like that. So let's actually try to print our item here just to make sure everything works. I also want to append, do I have the JSON module here? Okay, great. So I also can say now JSON.dumps dumps item, and specify the indentation level equals to 2 spaces, just to bring the response a little bit. So let's execute the code again. Okay, name article is not defined. Hold on, guys. Okay, of course, not the article append, but articles append like this. So let's try this one more time. Just need to spell this correctly, of course. So articles. Okay, now we have the list index out of reg. Error. Well, that's probably because of these articles. Okay, so let's go for a little hack at the moment. So we just multiply this by 10, just to have, oh, not by 10 but by 12, of course. So just to have, okay, still doesn't work, just hold on a sec. Okay, so let's create 12 empty strings within our article. So that's just a hack needed just before we take away this break statement. So as far as we take this away, we won't need this hack anymore. So here we have our responses. So the very first, but hold on a second, just wondering why the very first one doesn't contain any sort of it's not the articles but the article here. Okay guys, so I just tested this with just committing out this break statement and having the normal articles. Well, there was some index related issue because we did append to after the 12th element apparently, so I'm not sure, but that something didn't really work there. So what I want to say that actually article itself has been appended correctly. So for now on we just keep this break here, and we just won't be we actually won't be using this. We'll comment this line of code out for a while just before we implement pagination crawling here. So let's execute code one more time. So let's have these three items for a while. Okay, so now in order to so I don't need this anymore, this as well as this one. Now in order to crawl the entire pages in this site, in this kind of endpoint, let's scroll down a bit and see what happens if we click to the page number 2. And here we see that the URL just being appended by the page and the page number respectively. So let's actually implement the logic of generating the next page URL in order to being able to crawl the range of pages we need actually. So now here let's also comment out this stuff, so we don't need this anymore, not anymore, we don't need this for now. And let's actually try to loop for over the page, over the range of the pages. So for page in range of from okay, from 2, from 1, okay, let's try from 1 to let's say 3, and so we will need our URL at the moment already. So here we'll create a variable called the next URL, so maybe next page like this, and this would be equal to URL plus and page slash and plus. We need to stringify the our page because at the moment it's the type of integer, but we can concatenate the string and the integer, so we need to convert this guy to the type of string. So stringify the page and plus and slash at the very end, so something like this. Now let's try to print our next page URL to make sure that it's generated correctly. So we have, okay, page 1. Now I'm just wondering if can we use this sort of a link to go to the very first page, so that will simplify our crawler code, but it does redirect us, so I'm not sure. Let me just if there is a redirection, it's not what I wanted to have here. I'm not sure. Okay, so it's being redirected here, so we really want to avoid this sort of behavior because our scraper will crash simply. So, oh, did it just close? Okay. Okay, so let's go another way here. So we will be starting from page number 2. Well, we can actually, no, let's start and go into page number 5. Okay, so 2, 3, 4, great. Now I like this pretty much. So we'll make the initial request before entering this loop, and then we'll be making the request just within the loop, and that's kind of it. So now let's try to see. Okay, just let me think for a while. Okay, so before we proceed, we also need to append the item to the results list. So I say self.results results dot append, and this is the function call taking this sort of dictionary as an argument, and we don't really want to print anything here anymore. Okay, so, and also we need to test our toCSV function here, so just try to store the response first. So okay, we don't really need so here we have the toCSV method definition, but we don't really need this anymore. Let me just quickly import my little hack library here and just simply say hack.last to see what files are available in my remote server at pythonanywhere.com. So let me just quickly check that out. Okay, something, just duplicate this stuff. Okay, so we have our response HTML, and okay, these are my previous files. Okay, great. So let's actually try to, so at the very end here we need to say self.toCSV to store the results, and okay, so now we don't do any parsing logic at the moment, so okay, this time it has to write the CSV file. Let's check that out. Okay, so it did read it successfully, it says like it did. Okay, so results CSV appeared here. Now let's have a look at the results CSV file. So results.csv. Okay, so here is our file. Great. And let me just check everything out before starting the crawler, basically. Okay, so here we make the initial we're making the initial request, and okay, let's just comment this a little bit. So this is initial page request, and this would be crawling pages. Okay, so what we have here, okay, so fetch URL. Okay, and here copy. We will be doing absolutely the same, but we'll be using the next page as the URL parameter instead. So next page like this, and I still keep this this article's body commented because I just want to test the crawler first. So let's try to test the crawler. So here we ended up with this market turned down as blah blah blah. Okay, so just checking everything one last time, and okay, let's try to run this. Well, unfortunately, okay, response object has no len. Okay, hold on. Oh, that's probably because, yeah, we need to specify response.text, of course, and response.text here as well. Okay, let's try this again. And this takes a bit of a time because this code is not asynchronous, so we just making a request to the server and then we're waiting until it executes everything. So okay, here we have that seems like we did all the status codes up to 100, which means successful. So let's actually have a look if our result CSV has been updated here. Okay, so it seems like it was updated. Okay, now we have all the values. Okay, so now I hold my breath and basically uncomment this articles being appended as the last element to this dictionary, and also get rid of this break statement. And I hope to see the list of the news with the descriptions. I mean, with the news with the article body itself, like within over here. So it takes a bit of time to be executed. So dictionary contains. Okay, some errors appear in here, but let me just quickly check if it actually did try to append some stuff or not. So, well, it seems like it did try to append. So let me quickly to grab this and copy to my local environment CSV. And open with a sheet rendering program, LibreOffice in my case. Okay. Seems like this scraper did stuck somewhere along the way. We'll quickly find this out, I hope. Okay, so title, link, okay, dates, okay, so it seems like it couldn't append actually the body itself. Okay, let me just check that out quickly. Okay guys, so I just revealed what was wrong with the error we got there. So for some reason it didn't append the article to our results list. Not sure why exactly that happens. Maybe this is this particular environment specific bug, because well, everything can happen. But nevertheless, what does fix this is just initializing the results list before actually running our scrapers. So if we now just print the results of after iterating over the very first page here, we're supposed to see. Okay, now it doesn't work at all. Okay, so let me just grab the entire code. Okay, hold on. Okay, so here we have our article being appended. So we see the article body being appended there. So now let's actually try to try our toCSV function one more time. This time it should work. So I say toCSV and run again. So I've added this with a return statement in order to return before crawling the pages, just for the debugging purposes. And now let's actually see our results CSV one more time. Okay, so this time it seems like it did successfully scrape all the data. So just to make absolutely sure that that is kind of it, so let me just open my editor one more time and paste the stuff, save, and no, it's not this. Okay, so now we have also our description being appended at the very last column. So this is great. So now we are ready to run the entire crawler. So in order just to scrape the entire data here. So let's actually remove this little return statement away from here. I'm sorry guys for this damn environmental sounds. For my neighbor is scratching something with his hammer below my stage. I don't know, probably gonna go and kick his ass for that, just annoying me while recording this video. Okay, so does this work now? I wonder. Okay, let's actually try to execute this one last time. I hope this is one last time at least. So it takes some time because we're crawling up to 3 pages, and within each page we actually crawl also every link to extract the description. So this is kind of some sort of a recursive scraping being involved here, and it seems like we did successfully write the stuff here. So okay, okay, this to CSV wasn't really needed that much, but I think this won't really affect. Okay, but let's just make sure, run this again here. Okay. And let's check the results. Oh, it seems like much more data here. Okay, let's copy this and open the text editor and paste and save, close. Okay guys, so it seems like we did extract all the news from the pages, from the first 3 pages. So we can, of course, you can alter the number of pages to fetch all the news from that sort of source, but here we have our nice article bodies appended as the very last in the very last column. So this is really nice. Okay guys, so this was an example of how can one make some sort of recursive scraping when we not only extracting data from the page we're looking at, but also recursively following the links and extracting data from there and appending that data to the initial data set being scraped from the primary page. So I hope you learned something interesting from this tutorial, and I wish you do all the best within your web scraping stuff, if it's a job or a hobby or whatever. So this is kind of it for this video, and I wish you all the best guys. So until next time, and take care.